What's up, everybody? We're back. Welcome back, everybody. I'm blushing. you know, look, you live, you learn. All right. Duly noted. Will not play videos of other people doing ballistic tests on a live. Lesson learned. Hey, you guys, welcome back to YouTube and Rumble. So I know we got a lot more people now over in Rumble. So some of us might be there, some of us might be here. Wherever you are joining from, welcome to another episode of the Black Line Brief. I am your host, Matthew McKim. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Wherever you are, please hit the like and the subscribe. Whether you are at Rumble or you're here, just hit the like and subscribe. It's the best way to help the channel. Let me get the chat. There we go, up on the screen. Cutting it down to the wire today, guys. Crazy day, busy day. Lots of things been going on behind the scenes. You could thank my wife. She got me a new sweater. It looks good. You guys like the color? I like it. It fits good. Thank you, babe. For those of you that were here for that live, I really thought that I was fine in showing the Charlie Kirk stuff because, John Bray showed so much more when he did the live with me. I really didn't think that, doing the Chris Mortensen video was going to do anything. And it did. So, YouTube is constantly updating their community guidelines. In fact, yesterday, after I was done with the Rumble video and I saved it and then downloaded it so I could upload it to YouTube, it asked a lot of prompts that it hadn't asked before. When it talks about like ad suitability. And so they are becoming a lot more aware of things, which is super interesting. And maybe I'll go deep into that more on a different live. We can talk about it. Looks like we got 2 new members. Awesome. We got Sunny Days. Thank you for joining the team. Oops, wait, up. And Sunny Days. Did you become a member twice? Well, thank you. Thank you so much. Let's see. I wanted to be able to pull up. How can I pull it up in here? I know how to do it. I'm kind of ad-libbing. This was part of the plan, but I hadn't pulled it up. So I'm going to pull it up now. Which one is from yesterday? Let's see. I don't know. We're going to have to find out right here. Yeah, here it is. Right at the right moment. All right. Let me back it up a smidge. All right. Oh, you know what I didn't do, ladies and gentlemen? It's okay. We're going to get it done. It's right here. There it is. All right. Sorry. Added to the screen. Here we go. All right. Let me go over here. So I got to say, for those new people that are just now joining the Black Line crew, I'm biased, right? So this isn't a dig at anyone else, but this is like the best community on the internet. I would say right up there with some of the other good, honest, content creators like Candace, Baron, and Zach Costello. And it's really cool, for those of you that have been here for a minute, I just was like a fan before I started my own channel. And so I clearly I just followed Candace and Baron and Zach and some other, big name people in the space before I started my own channel. And hold on, I got a prompt about a local recording. All right. Well, hopefully it still works. All right. Then coming into the space, and finally getting to reach out to certain people and people reaching back out to you. I had watched the debate that Zach did with Andrew, and then I reached out to Zach, letting him know that I thought he still did great, and that above all, what was on display was the different, characters, Zach's character and the type of man he was versus Andrew's. And, I'm not trying to make a dig on anyone. But Andrew played debate games and tried to win. And Zach, honestly, like he said recently, he was trying to have a conversation about everything. And Barron said the same thing. Like, there's not much can really come of a debate. You're going to get hung up on definitions and terms. And I mean, I think that's on full display. If you go see, before Andrew had called out, Barron was like, I'll debate this guy and anyone that knows him. I had already asked him to debate and he said yes, Andrew Wilson. And then he's like, I need a debate prompt. And then I sent him to the debate prompt. And then he just started trying to wiggle out of the debate by arguing that my debate prompt was flawed. And then he tried to straw man it. And then like I went back and forth with him until eventually the last thing I said to him, he didn't make a good point. He didn't win the argument. And then he just stopped responding. So I don't know. I guess we won preliminarily. And I asked him, I was like, does this mean you concede? Because you said you debate and then now you're not debating me and you stop responding, and he's ghosted me. So whatever. But then Zach reached out. Well, I'd reached out to Zach, and in that response, he said that he was going to go on Gary. And that, he asked, like, do I have any tips or anything like that? And I gave him what little help I could help with him. He's a fast learner. He had already clearly done a lot of research and studying on his own. But it was cool. He did tremendous. And I thought it was pretty low of like Blake Bednards to like go over and start saying on X that Zach was getting thrown around like a rag doll from Gary. And then I called Blake out on it, and he's like, excuse me, to me, like what? I can't question you. You're like someone special. Like, I can't say like what you're doing is despicable. You're trying to make it sound like Zach got destroyed, and he really didn't at any point. And he's like, you didn't see the first 51 minutes. You need to go back and you need to see my super chat that I gave. And it's like, okay, dude, you're not the end all and be all of everything. All right. But I watched the whole thing. Zach didn't get destroyed at any point in it. He did tremendous. And like I said before, like there's no winners and losers in this. We all lost when we lost Charlie that day. But I think what Zach did that day on Gary's show was show that there is more than enough to have reasonable doubt that Tyler Robinson was the lone gunman and that he did anything other than some peripheral role outside of UVU that day. And it was pretty cool. After the fact, Zach came on the show either that night or the next night and gave a super and gave me a shout out. And then the next day, he did a show and he gave a shout out to like, I think it was Brandy and Billy and Blake. And I was like, oh man, I kind of wish he would have gave me a shout out. But he didn't. It's all good. And then I was like, I wish he wouldn't have shouted out Blake. But anyway, and then I come to find out, I got messaged like, hey, you should see what Zach said at the end. And I was like, what do you mean? I watched the whole thing. But I don't watch supers. Like if I'm at work and I'm trying to just watch the bulk of the meat of the show, I don't always have time to watch the super chat section of other people's shows. When I can, I do. When I can, I can't. Like today was a perfect example of that. I had like no time. I didn't watch Candace today. I got to listen to Zach's today because he does his earlier in the day. But what was cool was I did get to see how awesome this community is, because Jane, Seth, Rupert, and I'll let it speak for itself, and you guys can all give her kudos in the chat. So let's listen to this.
I want to know the full truth so that we can move forward in truth, so that we can move upward and onward toward life in full. Ultimately, that's what we're going for, and that's what my channel is hopefully here to do in some small way. I'm going to give a shout out to a guy that I've really grown to appreciate here. We got a comment here that I would love to see you and Matthew McKim from the Black Line Brief channel. And Zach, you are both sincere in my opinion. If you guys have a chance, go and check out the Black Line Brief channel. I like Matt. He was helpful actually in giving me some information and some tips regarding the Gary Melton conversation. So I appreciate Matt and what he's doing over there on the Black Line Brief channel. And if you guys have a chance, go and check it out. It's good stuff.
So that is just a testament to the kind of guy Zach is and the kind of community we have. You know, that Jane is a consumer and a follower of both channels. And you know, that she gave us super just to do that. And Zach didn't have to say anything. He really didn't, you know, and the fact that he did, like, I'm just a normal person. And if you guys could have seen my reaction when I listened to that live this morning with my wife, um, it was super cool. It was super cool. And I really respect and thank Zach for doing that. So, but yeah, all right. Getting choked up a second. But let's get into it, okay? The I think the main thing that Zach did for all of us, because what he represented when he stood in the void, when he stood up against Andrew Wilson and Gary Melton, he wasn't standing up for himself. Okay. He was standing up for the thousands of people that follow him, that follow us, like Candace and Barron and me and anyone else that does not just needlessly just consume the FedSop narrative and take it as fact, and that we should just trust the experts. We should just trust them, you know? And so what Zach did that day was he spoke on behalf of all of us, right? Because in our families, in our jobs, when we go to church, if we have conversations with friends or whoever it is, you know, I have someone in my own family that thinks I am evil. Hey, if you're watching, hey, that thinks I'm evil because I question Erica Kirk, TPUSA, and the official narrative. That I'm not a Christian, that I need to turn from my evil ways, repent, and get back in my relationship with the Lord. You know, Charlie said himself, keep questioning. Questioning is what keeps us free. Okay. And it's not that like any of us, and Zach said this himself, like he actually was on TPUSA's side and Erica Kirk's side and was questioning Candace in the beginning and switched because of the information that as it came out from the official narrative and the evidence, and then watching TPUSA and Andrew Colvett and Blake Neff and Erica Kirk and their public appearances and the things that they said and the verifiable lies and inconsistencies in their stories made him slowly begin to question what they all were telling us is just facts. And it's not. It's just not. And I agree that in the beginning when this all went down, I didn't know Erica, right? Like I'd followed Charlie. I didn't watch the Young Women's Leadership Summit. I'm not a young lady, right? So a lot of the appearances she did with Charlie were for mainly the young women. Like he would appear with her at these things. And so I didn't really know her until after the assassination, when we all started to get to know Erica for the first time. And I think all of us were giving her the benefit of the doubt from the get-go. And my father-in-law would be a perfect example of this, is that like, it was from that initial appearance on the Charlie Kirk show when she started just acting. And it just, well, no. I think her first appearance was the tarmac, and she was with Stacey Sheridan and was like 15 feet in between her and Charlie Kirk's parents. And there was like no grieving together. And that was a first oddity for me. Like they were separate. There was this clear divide between them, which is bizarre. Cause I pointed out that like, even though like my wife and my mom aren't like best friends, but they're not enemies, right? Like my wife adores my mom and loves her, as broken as and flawed as she is. But if God forbid anything ever happened to me, they would be there for one another, you know, unless Uh, you know, maybe like if I had something happen and me and my wife were fighting at the end of our marriage and I was seeking a divorce and my mom knew, right? Like that's what is coming out about Charlie is that there seemed to have been a lot of issues in the marriage towards the end and that it's possible that his parents and sister probably knew and that there was a reason for them not even being next to her when they went to the DC thing at the White House to receive the medal. Once again, Erica Kirk is with Stacey Sheridan, and there is a space between. So it's Erica Kirk, Stacey Sheridan, space, Charlie's parents. And I implore you, go find me a picture, a video of where they're grieving together. I haven't found it. I don't see it. The parents were at the memorial, didn't get to speak. Didn't get to speak. Okay. And so then the next thing that I started to question was the casket scene, right? And Zach did a good point in pointing this out that like, you know, he's like, I give everyone permission because he talked to his wife and I talked to mine as well that like, there's no way she would have done that, even if the chief of finance and of gifts was like, I'm going to record this. Is that okay with you? Because she had to have asked Erica, like nobody, like give me a break that she just started filming without Erica's permission and then posted it without Erica's permission and then didn't take it down or Erica didn't tell her to take it down or just this is what I'm saying. Like they're clearly either Stacey asked, okay, because I clearly think she had to have asked, and Erica said yes, that's fine. Or Stacey just did it, but then if Stacey just did it and Erica then saw it, Erica didn't. She never made a public statement about this. She never told Stacey to take it down and publicly apologize. So clearly she's okay with what happened. That was the next thing for me that made me start questioning Erica Kirk. The memorial, publicly forgiving Tyler Robinson 11 days after the assassination, when she's the one that said, you know, we the people, we the public need to be educated in the court system and how the court system works. Okay, well, if he's presumed innocent and you understand the system, you being the surviving widow at the memorial, which was 270 something thousand people were there and then millions televised and watched it. That was the biggest and most damning moment where they tainted the jury pool. That's, I mean, when did it start? That's when it started. Okay. Forgiving someone of something that you don't know. You don't know what they did. You don't know who did anything, right? Like reference the Candace Owens podcast when they did their meeting and she just figured Erica must be operating with some sort of information and evidence that we didn't have that made her so confident. And Tyler Boyer and Andrew Colvin and Blake Neff to say it's a mountain of evidence. We've seen it. I've seen it all. And, you know, 90% of it, and Jack Posobiec, 90% of it could be thrown out and he would still be convicted. She said that. So, I mean, like, I can't just not comment on my own process of where I started to question Erica Kirk and why she was just so adamant that she's positive Tyler did this. And with no evidence other than what we had. Okay. We have the same evidence. There's no new evidence that she has that we don't have. And so that's what's done it for me. And then everything else that's come out since then, right? Like you go look at the official videos from the day, go look at the charging documents, the indictment. Nothing actually puts Tyler Robinson on UVU. Nothing, you guys. So the documents and the surveillance photos that we've all seen, that's just somebody. It's not clear that that's Tyler Robinson to me. The person walking up in the stairwell and down the stairs and up the stairs, if anything, that's definitely not Tyler Robinson. Go do a side-by-side of them. It's not the same person. I've gone over that before. The person on the roof jumping off, it's not Tyler Robinson. I mean, it's not clear that it is. I guess I could be generous and say that I'm not positive it is, but I'm also not positive that it isn't. It definitely wasn't one of the photos or videos that the parents saw and were like, that's my son, right? Same with the walking up photo. Those were supposedly the photos that the parents saw online and were like, that's my son. And then they reached out to the freaking, LDS member. Clearly, that's not what happened. You just reference Zach, reference Brandy and Billy. The parents said 90% of what they're telling us is false. Believe 2% of what the news is telling you, and that they don't believe that Tyler and Lance actually were on UVU. Well, they don't believe Tyler was, but that they, if anything, they played, like I said, a peripheral role in the event. A lot of times, the people are referencing that freaking, 10th cousin of Lance that went on with, I forget the guy's name right now, News Nation, Brian, or I forget his last name, but that was someone that had seen Lance Twiggs all of like 3 times and hadn't even seen him in the last 10 years. Like, for that person to get up there and act like they know for a fact who Lance is and what he was doing, and Tyler, it's just clearly was part of the Fed slop. There's more than enough evidence, you guys, for us to be confident, very confident, that there's more than enough reasonable doubt that Tyler didn't pull the trigger. All you have to do is reference a lot of the videos to know that what we saw happen to Charlie Kirk that day was not the result of one bullet from a Mauser in a 30-06 round. Okay. It wasn't. And we'll look at that. Okay. And then, yeah, I mean, there's more than enough evidence for us all to question the official narrative and to be confident when we talk about this, whether it's me publicly like this or to our friends or to others. And for them to tell us that we're evil, ad hominem attacks, and that we're stupid and we're part of a cult, it's crazy and it's nuts that they are doing that at us. And it clearly is because they can't defend the position that they have. And all you have to do is go back and watch Zach and Gary. Anytime that Zach pointed out inconsistencies and lies in TPUSA story or Andrew Colvett or Erica Kirk, Gary couldn't even be honest about it. Couldn't even be honest that she clearly lied about her dating life and that she drank in New York. No, he says that. No, what she meant was she didn't partake in that culture. Okay, dude. So, yeah, I guess in that regard, what point? I guess I made that point the other night. There is still point in having these debates or these conversations with people on the other side of the narrative, because if at the very least it points out their dishonesty, their inability to just be to operate in good faith. We might not end with convincing them to admit anything, but that in itself, I think, points out the issue with a lot of their story and the narrative that they choose to spout each day. And so one of the recent ones that is going around, which I think is crazy, you guys, is that I covered this yesterday. I don't know if a lot of you, Daily Mail put out, an article referencing the court documents that was from weeks ago, which are referencing a 4-page ATF report, of which we see a paragraph. Okay. A lot of people, Tim Pool and even Gary, and they're using this. Well, okay. Some people are using this to say that the bullet does not match the rifle. No, Zach did a good job of this today. I did a good job of this yesterday. No, all the ATF report says that we don't see the rest. We see a paragraph. Who knows what the rest says? But the part that they show us say the bullet jacket fragment that was recovered from the autopsy of Charlie Kirk was inconclusive. And so here, I also want to pull it up and show you guys, because it also says that there's certain markings on the bullet jacket fragment that the prosecution was arguing point to that it was shot from a rifle like a Mauser. But the defense argued that it's actually consistent with, characteristics from a bullet being fired from many kind of guns, not just a rifle like a Mauser. Okay. Yeah. Let's see. We got Nina. The mountain of evidence why we question the narrative. Yeah, there's a mountain of evidence why we do question. I agree. Yeah, I agree 100%. All right, let's see. All right, thank you, Zach, for everything you do every day and for standing up and debating certain individuals on behalf of all of us. Okay. And that took a tremendous amount of courage just to do that, especially after having faced Andrew and then the like public flogging that took place on X and just all of these individuals on that side of the aisle just tried to say like Zach is stupid and we're all stupid. And here, I'll make this point before I show that document was that everyone is entitled to be at a different part of their process of accepting different parts of the evidence that's been released to us. You know, Zach, at that point, he did believe, and he maybe still believes that I think a bullet is what killed Charlie Kirk. And that's fine. And that's fine that he believes that. I think he had followed Chris Mortensen, and he had done a lot more watching of Chris Mortensen at that time to believe that theory. And I don't know where he's at currently on that. I've done more in my own research to like see what John Bray's done. And I think it's great that like Zach and I can talk and he can tell me what he's learned from the Chris Mortensen videos. And I can tell him what I've learned from the John Bray interviews and videos that I've watched, or he could watch mine with him, or I can watch what he showed before with Chris. But we're entitled to, we don't all have to be in the exact same place with what we believe and what we don't believe. But they attacked him because Zach wasn't ready to say that he was 100% positive that Tyler Robinson didn't fire the gun that day. And I said that he's entitled to be at that place for his own journey in this investigation. I said in my video, I am comfortable with that. I'm comfortable with saying nearly with 100% certainty that Tyler Robinson wasn't even on UVU campus that day. And I can say that because of what they chose to write in the documents to charge him. They don't even list that they have surveillance of him firing the shot, you guys. They don't say that. They say that they have footage of him climbing over the rails and being up there for 8 minutes and 23 seconds and then changing behind the top of the building that's up there. And then they reference him low crawling out to the position. And then they say, then the video picks up again as he's up from the prone running. It's so bizarre that, for one, I get if they didn't want to show us that. Well, couldn't they have shown us the video of him climbing the railing, stepping over the railing, walking out, and then crawling out to the position? And they didn't have to show us him taking the shot. Like, what's the difference from the same distance, right? We wouldn't have seen his face, right? We can't tell who it is from the part of the video that they showed us that started at 12 minutes, 23 seconds, or 12, 23 and 34 seconds, right? Where he's already in a dead sprint. So they're comfortable showing us that, which there was no way anyone could identify the individual at that time from that video, or even now. So there was no, if that was like for the public or for the parents or for someone to help identify him, no, that's not the purpose of why they released that video, you guys. No one can identify that person. No one. No. We possibly could identify the person from the video, from the still photos of the video of the person walking down the stairs and up the stairs, which is told to us to be the same person that jumped off the roof, right? The person with the eagle on the shirt and the long black sleeve shirt, the pants, the Converse, the glasses, the hat, and the backpack. But there's no way anyone can actually tell me for a fact who that is, because you can't tell. Okay. You can't tell who the person is running off the roof. So then why couldn't they show us the video of this person who they say is Tyler Robinson walking up the stairs, climbing over the railing, and then being on the roof for 8 minutes before he crawled out to the the shooting position. They didn't have to show us the shot. I mean, I wish they would if that existed, but that's not even referenced in the documents. They don't even say that they have that in the documents, which is interesting to me. So, all right, let's go here. I wanted to read with you guys. This is the indictment. Wrong. Yeah, you guys can see it. Okay, good. This is here. Nope, that's the wrong one. I'm clicked on the wrong one. Yeah, this is like the charging document or the indictment, right? That really all where they've compiled all the quote unquote evidence that they quote from that day, right? I've scrolled down to the part where they start talking, which is the Washington County's investigation portion. We started reading this other part at the end of the video yesterday, right, where we talked about them reviewing the surveillance camera covering the roof. This is the part that I kind of just referenced, right? And I'll just read it with you guys because it just shows that they don't really have a lot of evidence that they claim that they have. Okay. Sorry, excuse me. So the suspected shooting position is adjacent to an open, publicly accessible walkway. To access the suspected location, a person must climb over a railing and then drop onto the roof only slightly below. All right. And I want to show you that. All right. All right. Let me make sure you guys can see it. Cool. All right. Google Earth. There we go. Hopefully my internet will behave tonight. Let me do this. All right. Here we go. This is that staircase where he walks up, he climbs over this railing, and then walks over here. And he supposedly walks all the way and then goes out of the camera's view, all right, because the camera is right here, right there, all right? And so he would be out of view when he's over here. And he's supposedly, pulling the rifle out of his pant leg, changing clothing for 8 minutes, which we would be able to see, though. We would be able to see because I'll just show you why we'd be able to see. And it wouldn't taint the jury pool. It wouldn't be able to show us who Tyler Robinson is. But it would be able to show us because these are windows around this whole building. And from the footage, you can actually see through because when they show us the video of him running, you can see him running behind. All right. And so they could show us more, but they don't. All right. So we just have to trust them. And then he's here. He changes clothing, takes out the rifle, low crawls out to here, right, until he takes the shot. And then, right, he supposedly immediately, right, gets up and is in a dead sprint, and he makes it from here to right here so fast that it's nearly impossible because he also supposedly broke down the weapon on the roof because they say that he broke it down because they supposedly found a screwdriver, right? But then that wasn't in the documents because then they say that he reassembles it later in the woods, even though he doesn't have the screwdriver. Anyway, so this is the issue with this narrative. Well, it's just one of the many, many issues. Oh, you guys can't see my mouse pointer. My big green mouse pointer, you can't see it? That's crazy. I'll have to make it bigger. I can't believe you guys can't see it. It's like right here. It's like dead in the screen. I'll have to make it bigger next time. Okay, guys, I apologize. Okay, then let me just go back to the document. Okay. Because that was kind of the point anyway. All right. So here, we'll start here because this talks about the UVU officer, right? But let's start here. Police reviewed surveillance from the camera covering the roof, discovered that recorded an individual dressed in dark clothing cross the railing from the public walkway that we hopefully you guys got to at least kind of see, and then drop onto the roof at approximately 12:15. Okay, so if they have him from 12:15 and then they have him when the video that they showed us, which starts at 12:23 and 34 seconds, why couldn't they show us any of this other footage, right? So although the individual moved out of the camera's view for a short time, which was behind that little building that's above, all right, that's on top and it has the windows all around, it says that the camera again captured the individual running across the roof. Well, running, that's interesting. And then low crawling into to the area the UVU officer recognized as where the suspected sniper had dropped into a prone shooting position. Okay. Then it starts back up. After a short time, which matches the known time of the shot, the individual arose and ran across the roof to the northeast. Okay. I don't know why they didn't then. Why can't they write about what that whole video captured? That it actually would have captured him laying down and taking the shot. I don't understand why that wouldn't be said in this document. It doesn't make sense why it would be left out. All right. This is also where it'll say this discovery led to an intensive review of UVU surveillance recordings to attempt to track and identify the suspect. Surveillance revealed the following. At approximately 11:51 a.m., the suspect entered campus from the north. He is seen wearing a black shirt with an American flag in the center, and a dark baseball cap and large sunglasses. It's weird. It doesn't say anything about his backpack. Yeah, it doesn't. Throughout the surveillance, the suspect keeps his head down and rarely raises his head enough to get a clear image of his face. As he proceeds across the campus, he is then seen walking with an unusual gait. The suspect walks with very little bending of his right leg. And this is where they want you to, piece in your own information, because they've implied in other videos of him, the Phil Lyman neighborhood Ring doorbell camera where, he's limping. He bends his knee enough that there's no way the rifle is down his pants. Okay. And it's definitely not disassembled, right? Because then he supposedly has the screwdriver and assembles it or disassembles it and then reassembles it later, but he doesn't have the screwdriver. But so now they want you to infer that the rifle is fully put together and down his pant leg. Because if it wasn't, he'd have two pieces that are near 22 inches long down each pant leg. It's not going to fit in both. His pants were so tight, you can see the imprint of his phone in his right pocket. And we can look at that here. Such a bummer you guys cannot see my big green mouse cursor. I made it big so you guys could see it. I'll have to figure out why you guys can't see it. All right. So here in this photo, okay. So they said that this gentleman, look how much he bends his knee. That's the knee that is caught on the Ring doorbell camera that he's limping, that he was not bending his left leg in the footage where he's walking through the neighborhood before he makes it onto campus. So they want you to conclude that the rifle is down his left leg. Look how much he bends this knee, guys. There's no rifle there. There's also no rifle down his right leg because he has his right leg bent here. And you can see how tight his pants are because here is his phone right here. Yeah, I don't know. You guys can't see my cursor at all? That's a bummer. And I can't even point to it. I don't know why it's not showing my cursor. I'm going to have to figure that out some other time. It's a big green cursor on my camera. I mean, on my screen. So Hopefully you guys can just see that in the middle picture, he bends his left leg. All right. In the far, the left picture, he's bending his right leg. And in the right picture on the other side, he has his phone in his right pocket. He's bending his left leg, and you can see the outline of his phone in his pocket. Okay. So it's clearly not there. So then where's the gun in this photo? Well, they want you to then maybe just assume, I guess, it's in his backpack. Well, no, because the charging documents are implying that it's in his pants, and it wouldn't even fit in his backpack, even if it were, because it would either have to be broken down, but even then it's like 22 inches each half. So there's just no way it would even fit. It's just none of what they say. So here, look at, this is the one I'll show you guys here. And they want you to believe that this is the same person. I mean, it's definitely not. They have completely different backpacks, different hats. To me, their gait is different, but they want you to think what the rifle is down. So the kid with the long pants, okay, that's supposedly the same kid. Where's the rifle? It's not there. It's just not there. And then look at this one. This is that kid. Clearly he's bending. Clearly he's bending his left leg. Where's the rifle? Well, he wasn't limping on the right leg. It was his left leg that he was limping. So where is it? It's not there. It's just not there. And then this is the best photo we have of his face. I guess this one. Right? You're telling me that is Tyler Robinson. Okay, or tell me this then. This is the photo that supposedly the parents saw and said, that is my son. No, look at how broad this dude's shoulders are and wide they are. Okay, there was another photo that shows, I mean, that's a pretty good photo that shows how wide they are. Oh, this one does too, right? Look how wide his shoulders are. Look how broad they are. They almost look like he's wearing shoulder pads. Okay. I don't think he is, but I mean, because the other photos don't look like he is. Now, like if we were to look at this of Tyler, look at his shoulders. Not the same. Not even close. Not even close. All right. Let's get back to the document. All right. Let me get up here. I apologize, you guys can't see my green cursor. All right, so here we are. Yeah, so the suspect walks with very little bending in his right leg, consistent with a rifle being hidden in his pants. Here they say his right leg, but in the photo where he's walking before, in the beginning, it's his left leg. I mean, it's so ridiculous how many times they want you to infer that the rifle's in a different place. Okay. And they never really account for the size of the rifle, whether it's fully put together or even when it's broken down, how tight the kid's pants are. They're so tight you can see the outline of his phone in his pocket. And in his left pocket, you can see like he has his keys in his pocket. Okay. There's no way, whether it's broken down or put together, that it would be in either leg, let alone both legs. And it's definitely not in his backpack. It'd be sticking out. Okay. This unusual gait continues until the suspect is seen crossing the railing. Off the open walkway on the roof, where he leaves camera's view. That doesn't really make sense. So, and we just looked at the photos. He bends both his legs at different times walking up those steps. Okay. But supposedly the moment, and then how in the world, let me go here. How in the world, you know what comes in my mind when I say it like that is, where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? Throwback 90s, early 2000s. Okay, I know you guys can't see the cursor. This is the Losi Center that looks like a massive, Philadelphian star, but kind of separated. Like it's parts of it look like the Philly star, parts of it don't. Obviously, it's like I don't know, a diamond. With this. If you've seen the Losi Center roof video, you know what I'm looking at, right? Well, in the middle of the bottom of the screen, I have to like explain this because you guys can't see my cursor. Yeah, you guys can't see it. That's so bizarre. I don't know why you guys can't see it. All right, I need to move on from it. I can't get hung up on it. There's no way I can go and try to make it bigger and noticeable while we're doing the live. I'll figure it out later. I apologize. Okay, you see the red, not the red squares on the top of the photo, but the ones that are on the roof of the Losi Center. Right there in the middle, you can see the staircase. And as he climbs over, supposedly then he doesn't have a bend in his leg. How? There's a railing there. He's going to have to hoist his leg over and his other leg and climb over. How could you do that with a rifle down your pants? And then how all of a sudden did he not have this unusual gait as he supposedly goes out of view behind this building that's on top of the Losi Center, which is just surrounded by glass? It doesn't make sense. Okay. I wish I could see why you guys can't see my cursor. The documents, you guys, the documents say that this unusual gait continues until the suspect is seen crossing over the railing. It doesn't say, and it should say this, what, did he take the rifle out of his pants? How did he just all of a sudden stop walking with a bend in his leg? If the bend in his leg was because of the rifle and the rifle was there the whole time, how did he climb over the railing, or how did he just stop having the bend in his leg now that he's on the roof? Why wouldn't it say, well, he has the bend in his leg disappeared because the video captures him removing the rifle? It doesn't say that. The other thing is that he goes behind the building, but the building is glass around the whole thing, because we can see, and I'll pull up, where's that? Let me pull this up. Yeah. Hold on. Let me pause it. Back it up. Okay, we can see. Yeah, you guys can see it. Cool. All right, Tyler, let me make it bigger for you guys. In this footage, you can see him run across to behind, and you can actually see him through the glass, and then he appears on the other side. So, and they're able to zoom in on this camera as they want us to see him and only him, because they want to take that car that enters the parking lot out of view. They could have zoomed in on any parts of this. The whole part when he's climbing over the railing, which they cut out of this video. Because they say that it's captured on this camera, but they don't show us that this camera captures that whole, the view. It's like a 180. It's a half circle. It captures so much more than what they're showing. But they would have captured him walking out and being behind that building, which is glass around the thing, the whole sides. And they would have shown that we could see him changing or putting the rifle together. They would have been able to capture at least movement back there. And supposedly there's thousands of other cameras on this, on all these old other buildings. I'm surprised that no other building captured the other side of what was going on that day. But here, let's watch. So look, they zoom in. You're going to see him. You can see him behind here. You can see him. There he is. Boom. Okay. So they would have seen him as he walked out and got behind this building and then did whatever he did behind there before he supposedly ran and then low crawled. Okay. Man, it's insane with how much they give you so many little pieces, but not the whole story. And they just want us to fill in the gaps, which is crazy because a young man's life is on the line. And the charging documents in the indictment, there should be no gaps, especially if there's like video evidence or photos. It should all be listed here. There is no real good reason why it wouldn't be in this document. If they have it, it should be here. Okay. And here it says the camera later captures the suspect as he runs across the roof to the suspected shooting position. Immediately after the shot was fired, a camera captures the suspect running across the roof. Why doesn't it say, you guys, it says the actions before as he gets out to the shooting position, and then it says immediately after. You guys, if the video captured him taking the shot, it would say it right here. It would say a camera captured the suspected shooter laying down in prone position and taking the shot. It doesn't. But immediately after the shot was fired, a camera captures the suspect running across the roof carrying an item whose shape is consistent with the rifle. No, we'll look at it in a second. We'll go back. The suspect is then seen climbing down from the roof. He appears to drop the item. The item? Why doesn't it say the rifle? The item. It wants you to infer that what he drops is the rifle. He doesn't, because the rifle that they claim is in his right hand. It's actually a towel or sweater. It's in his right hand. Okay. The item that's in his left hand is what he drops, and it's not a rifle. It's something small. Like I would say it's either his hat or his glasses. It's something that falls off of him when he jumps to the ground to his feet. And I'll show you in a second, because he picks it up really quickly and then he runs off. The item he was carrying as he hits the ground in a controlled fall. He then picks up the item, which they want you to infer is the rifle, and then runs towards the northeast of campus. Well, let's look. Let's see if that's what we see. Let's see how honest these people are. You guys. So as this was happening, I was like going like this with my little cursor to see if I could see it on my other screen. And it is so small. It's there. But on my screen, it's huge. It's like I don't know how you could not see it, but then I see what you guys see, and it's so tiny. It's so tiny. So I get why you guys can't see it, and I apologize. I'm going to make it super big and like yellow or red or something so you guys can see it, okay? But clearly, did you guys see as he drops? Let me back up. As he drops, boom, watch. Pick something up, left hand. He picked it up with his left hand because the towel or the jacket's in his right hand. And that's what they're saying is the rifle. That's what Gary is saying is consistent with the shape of a rifle. That's how dishonest this official narrative and people in the official narrative are, okay? Because there is no way that this is consistent with the shape of a rifle, or that it could even be a fully put together Mauser, 1900 Mauser that's like 10, 12 something pounds, and that he could hold on to that with a towel or sweater wrapped around it, not drop it, okay? And he flings it. It like flings around. Watch. Like flings it. There's no rifle there, guys. And then just, yeah, no rifle. No rifle. And then boom, picks something up with his left hand and then takes off. There's nothing in this. There might be something in it, but it's definitely not a 1900, Mauser. That's that. Let me see before we continue if you guys have any super chats that I missed. All right, because I want you guys to get questions and comments in as we go. Dulcinea, good to see you. Wow, that's a very generous super sticker. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate that. If you guys have any questions, comments, please throw in a super and I'll get to it as we go along. All right. One thing, just a little housekeeping. Let's see how many people. We have 194 people here. I'll see. Can you guys just do me a favor? Whoever is here, I know that a lot of people watch and they don't, interact in the chat, and that's totally fine. I do that sometimes when I'm watching other people's stuff. I don't always get in the chat. We got 112 likes, 190 people here. We'll do the math. Can whoever didn't hit it, can you guys just hit the like and the subscribe? Well, I can't tell who subscribed, but just smash the like if you're watching. It's the best way to help the channel. All right, let's continue. It's just one of those things. Everyone's got to do it, you guys. Every creator's got to say it because, people forget and they're watching and then, they get pulled away because life happens and they forget to hit it before they go. And it's no big deal. But if you're here and you're watching still, just hit the like. That'd be great. Thanks. All right. Where did I leave off? Across the roof. The suspect was then seen climbing. I already read that. All right. So here's the part that I wanted to get to. This is the whole stupid rounds, the no bulges thing. I wanted to read this part, right? It talks about the parents. All right. So on the evening of September 11, 2025, as law enforcement continued in their investigation, Tyler James Robinson went to Washington County Sheriff's Office with his parents and family friend to turn himself in. Okay. So Tyler James Robinson went to the Washington County Sheriff's Department, Sheriff's Office with his parents and family friend, which is that LDS guy, and turned himself in. All right, let's keep reading. Robinson's mother stated the following to police. We will see if this is what she stated. On September 11th, 2025, the day after the shooting, Robinson's mother saw the photo of the shooter in the news and thought the shooter looked like her son. Robinson's mother called her son and asked him where he was. He said he was at home sick and that he had also been at home sick on September 10th. Robinson's mother expressed concern to her husband that the suspected shooter looked like Robinson. Robinson's father supposedly agreed. I don't think that's even true. I really don't. Okay. You guys, based on the video evidence that we just looked at, the still photos of the video of the person walking down the stairs to the building, down the steps and then up the steps, it does not look like Tyler. Not his build, not his skin complexion, not his nose, his lips, his chin, his ears, his eye, just none of it. Okay. None of it looks like him. I don't think that any parent, well, maybe the actual parent of whoever that individual is, might look at that and go, yeah, that looks like my son. I definitely don't think that Tyler's parents looked at those photos in that video and said, yeah, that's my son. That looks like him. They definitely didn't do that from the video of the guy jumping off the roof. There's just no way. And from what we know from Brandon and Billy and others, the parents do not believe that Tyler actually did this. Okay. And remember, they said that he confessed, but then they said that he wasn't cooperating. There's all of these conflicting parts of this story that we need to remember and hold them accountable for, because they used these things like the screwdriver, the parents, the LDS friend. The parents saw the rifle. The rifle is what they identified, and they linked it together. That rifle is not even the rifle. It's just a rifle they pulled off the internet. It's not the actual grandfather's rifle. These are the things that, like Jack Posobiec, Andrew Colvett, and all of these individuals say. They repeat it ad nauseum. Parents turned him in. His parents saw the photo. His parents saw the rifle. These are the things that are lock solid, mountain, so much evidence. Why can't they answer, well, if that's not the rifle, and that's supposedly the rifle that the parents saw and were like, that's Grandpappy's rifle, we need to call Tyler, and that's what's in the documents. And then supposedly that's when they asked Tyler, where's the rifle? We saw a picture of the rifle online. Show me the rifle. Not the rifle. So then that whole conversation didn't happen. That whole conversation didn't happen. That means we can question everything, right? And that, he had suicidal ideations, but then he was afraid of being shot. Okay. He confessed, but then he didn't cooperate. You guys, like this, they told us things in the beginning so that we would be compliant and accept this official narrative. And then the snowball of the criminal justice system, it just grows and grows as it rolls down the hill, so much that you just need to get out of the way, right? Just accept it or get out of the way. It's going to take you with it. It's all freaking nonsense. It's craziness, you guys. And we're the crazy ones, right? We're the crazy ones, right? So I think, yeah, this is where, yeah, I want to play this. And so I don't think Candace watches the show. There's no way. I will say that whatever Candace is drinking, I'm drinking too. We are on similar wavelengths, but not just her. Anyone with a brain that is objective about this, right? Whether it's Barron or Coach Colin, Zach Costello, it's not that we're all coordinating. We're definitely not. Okay. We all just happen to conclude similar things from what we see. And from what I read in the comments and what people say in the chat, and what people have said they've loved about this channel is that I say a lot of the things that everyone's thinking. I'm expressing feelings myself that are genuine, authentic, and real, but that it resonates with what you guys are feeling. And it validates your thoughts and feelings, and that you're not crazy. That's been like one of the reasons why I initially started this, and why I want to keep going for all of us, to give it, like how Zach stood up in the void for us. I can stand up in the void in my own way and not speak for all of us. I speak on behalf of myself, but if what I say resonates with you guys, then thank God it does. And then it helps you guys feel like you're not crazy, you're not alone, Yeah. So I only brought all that up because there were times where I came out with something and I did something, and then like later that day or the next day, like Candace said the exact same thing or something similar, right? Well, a while ago, and if those of you that remember, I referenced the O.J. Simpson case with Johnny, if the glove don't fit, you must acquit, right? And I said, well, if the gun don't fit, you must acquit, right? Yeah. And that's what was echoed today. So let's take a little listen. Oh, wait.
Allow me to be the first to say it. If the gun does not fit, you must acquit. Okay? Now, before we address these court filings and take you through them line by line so you are educated, you can go out into the world, you can say, you read through them yourself, it's only 28 pages, and then you can look at the people that are trying to manipulate you and to lie to you about what's in the filings. I at first want to transport you back to the beginning, because some time has passed and the story that we were told has changed so many times that you actually have to go back to the beginning to fully comprehend how this case fell apart so quickly for Turning Point USA, for Erica Kirk, and what I think is fair to refer to as their federal accomplices, because that's what it looks like to me.
Yep.
Charlie Kirk was shot on September 10th, 12:23 p.m. In the afternoon.
And so that's one of the things that, like, I spoke with some other people today that, well, I'm not going to just play her whole show, you guys. I wanted to play that part, but I don't agree with, and I don't have to. Everyone's an independent individual, and well, supposedly all adults. Some people don't act like adults, but nonetheless, I don't agree with everything and the approach in which Blake Bednards, if you guys are paying attention on X and everything that's been going on, his whole tantrum that he's been doing, but I think it's a shame that he brought up some valid questions that I think many of us have, but I think so many people didn't get to hear some of the arguments because the way in which he presented them. No one in this space should ever be above reproach, should ever be above being questioned. Okay. But I also would say Candace and Barron and Coach and Ian Carroll, for me, They haven't done anything that makes me not trust them. Okay. And so I also operate that they have a lot more knowledge and experience in a lot of this than I do. And so we may not know certain things that are going on behind the scenes and why they're saying and doing certain things and not saying and doing other things. And I think they're entitled to do that. And until any of them give me a reason to not trust them, I'm trusting them. However, I will say that, like, I wish, but that's just a wish, that when Candace says some things like she's 100% positive that Charlie Kirk was shot with a bullet from the front, I wish she would have given us something, I don't know, like a show of good faith, of something to back that up. Okay. Because to me, especially everything I've seen from that day, like, here, we'll take a look at it. I don't think he was shot with anything, like with a bullet. And I think it's a shame that so many people are saying that this document proves that the bullet doesn't match the rifle. No, we went over that. It just says that it's inconclusive. I think that it's so small that they can't test it. But so I'm going to show the video, Charlie, but before we do that, let me go here. Yeah, let me go here. Because let me make sure that you guys can see it. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let me find the part where it talks about the different rifling. Yeah. All right. So it's in the middle. All right. So first of all, this is referencing a 4-page ATF report regarding the bullet jacket fragment. Okay. And the forensic analysis that they did on it. Okay. But this is key. The result of the comparison was inconclusive. I said that yesterday. I said it today. I threw it in the chat. Zach said it today. So anyone out there saying that it proves that it didn't match the rifle, they're lying. They're just flat out lying. So the Daily Mail was lying, and other people that are posting that on X or any social media account, that they're saying that this bullet jacket fragment, that this ATF report proved that it didn't match the 30-06 Mauser. They're just lying. The test was inconclusive, guys. That's it. We also don't know what the rest of the report says. Okay. So we just know that this fragment that was recovered during the autopsy by law enforcement, the result of the comparison was inconclusive. Okay. So here, this is the part I want to read to you. So this talks about trombetta, potentially useful evidence within the meaning of Youngblood, because here, the ATF examination has already revealed that firearms, not just rifles, that produce general rifling characteristics similar to those observed on the Exhibit 6A bullet jacket fragment include numerous makes and models. So that might be the other thing that people are trying to reference in this document. What it is saying, it's saying that some of the general rifling characteristics that they see on this bullet jacket fragment are similar to those observed, right? That include other, like, numerous makes and models, not just rifles. So they are saying that there is a potential that this bullet doesn't match up with the 30-06 Mauser, okay? But they're not saying that for sure it doesn't match up. They're saying that it could, but it also couldn't. And that's why overall it's inconclusive, okay? It says, and that the examination of the individual characteristics did not reveal incriminating evidence. That means it did not prove that it was tied to that specific rifle. That's why it did not reveal incriminating evidence, right? And that's why they argue that it thus possesses an apparent exculpatory value within the meaning of trombetta. All right. Let's see. I wanted to see where they talk about, don't know if it was above or below. I don't know if it's here or not. All right. But that the potential retesting of this bullet jacket fragment could damage the fragment to the point where then no further tests could be done on it. And so that's why the defense was, I don't know if it was either the defense or prosecution was saying like, whoa, I can't remember who it was like, whoa, on the retesting, because if they continue to retest it, and then that the tests come back inconclusive again, but then it damages the remaining part of the fragment, it could then not have any evidentiary value. And like we couldn't derive any kind of information from it, which would then, I don't know. And that might suck. Yeah. All right. So where's the part? And this is the part which is interesting, where they say that Robinson's mother explained that over the last year or so, Robinson had become more political and had started leaning more to the left, becoming more pro. Yeah, I'm not going to read some of those words. Let's see. This resulted, the talk about transitioning in several discussions with family members, especially. And this is what I think, I don't even need to read all this. It's just, this is for the narrative, right? To me, this is just for the narrative. And that supposedly, and we don't even know if his parents said this, right? That supposedly he mentioned that Charlie Kirk would be holding an event at UVU, which Robinson said was a stupid venue. Okay. And that Robinson accused Kirk of spreading hate. This is just part of the narrative, you guys. We don't have any, and there might be, who knows, right? One of the other things that was in an article was that the prosecution was going to call Robinson's parents as witnesses or whatever to testify against. They imply all this stuff. It's like, no, it doesn't mean that they're testifying against Tyler, but I mean, the prosecution and the defense have the right and potentially will call the parents to testify. But then these different outlets and different creators are then saying, without any real information, what that means, like that they're testifying on behalf of the prosecution, because obviously that would then conclude that they believe that Tyler did it, or that other people are saying, well, no, they're going to testify on behalf of the defense, which would then mean that they don't believe Tyler did it. There's no information or actual, anything out there to say one way or the other. I think more point to that they would be testifying in defense of their son, but they haven't really said much at all, except for what the official, narrative is saying they said, right? And the FBI and the Washington state, or Washington County state they're part of the investigation. What they're saying the parents said, we don't know that they said anything, right? They said a lot of things. They said that the parents, noticed him in the picture, noticed that was the rifle, and that they confessed to that Tyler confessed to the parents. Well, not really, you guys. Remember, we listened to that yesterday in the part of Candace's clip where that one cop, whatever, or I think it was Governor Cox, actually, where he said that Tyler all but confessed or implied. And I was like, well, which one is it? Did he confess, or did he imply that he did it? They're not the same thing. You either confess and I did this. Yes, that was me. I was there on the roof and I took the shot, or he implied that he did it. Well, why wouldn't that be in the documents? Or even if it was, why would Governor Cox even say he confessed or implied? All but confessed or implied. That's so vague. Intentionally, because he wanted us all to conclude that it was an open and shut case. His parents saw the picture. The parents said that he did it, that's him, that's the rifle. Oh, and then he turned himself in, and then he confessed, all but confessed or implied that he did it. This is all part of the official narrative that TPUSA and Erica Kirk all say is evidence, and Jack Posobiec and Andrew Colvin, it's all evidence that point that Tyler did it. you know, that I think it's the FBI and the prosecution hasn't even turned over the actual evidence in this case to the defense so that they can get their own experts, test and investigate all of the different evidence that they claim is there. I think there's a reason, you guys. And they wanted to attack the defense and say they were trying to hold up this whole thing. Okay, well, they can't proceed until you give them the evidence for them to start testing. I can't wait till we see the whole 4-page report that they supposedly have. The 4-page ATF report. Thank you, Mystic. Thank you so much. All right, let's see. Where were we? Here. Oh, I need to make my face not so big. Sorry, guys. I wonder how many people are on Rumble. I don't have my other thing pulled up, so I can't. I should have done that. I should have had both pulled up so I could see. But I don't have enough screens. I need another screen. So let's see. Here we go. As they discussed the situation, Robinson implied that he was the shooter. You guys, right here. Robinson implied that he had planned to take his own life. Oh my gosh. This is crazy. Actually, I'm going to start up here. So Robinson's father reported that when his wife showed him the surveillance image of the suspected shooter in the news, he agreed that it looked like his son. Yeah, right. He also believed that the rifle that the police suspected the shooter used matched the rifle he was given to his son as a gift. Okay, well, here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. We're in a live, and I don't want to, make the YouTube gods mad by showing the picture. But you guys all know the picture of that black rifle is not the actual rifle. It's just not. So that means that statement is a lie. It's not a truthful statement. His dad did not see a picture, right, that the police suspected the shooter used. Match the rifle was given to his son as a gift. Nope. So as a result, Robinson's father contacted his son and asked him to send him a photo of the rifle. That's a lie. You guys, just be honest with yourselves. If his dad saw a picture of a random rifle that the news and or the police pulled off of the web, that black photo, then how did his dad look at that and say, that's Tyler's grandfather's rifle? And then supposedly then texted Tyler. That just didn't happen. Objectively, that just didn't happen, you guys. Just like his parents didn't look at those photos and go, that's Tyler. That's my son. So if those two things didn't happen, then the subsequent conversations that supposedly took place between Tyler's parents and Tyler Robinson, they also could not have happened because those preceding events that led to the parents reaching out to Tyler didn't happen. So then why would they have reached out to him? Candace believes that LDS, former police officer, is somehow involved in a negative way. Barron thinks he is somewhat of a good actor in this, and that he started hearing through his own former police channels that they had already decided it was Tyler. And that he then reached out to the parents and were like, you guys, we got to get him in safely or they're going to swat him, right? I don't know. I don't know which one it is. What I do know is this. Based on this document, his parents did not reach out to Tyler and ask them to send a picture of the gun. They did not see that photo or the videos and then say, that's my son, and reach out and say, where are you? That just objectively didn't happen. Okay. And that's what just so many parts of this are such BS. The whole thing has to be questioned. If any part of this is dishonest, is a lie, misrepresentation, distortion, perversion of the facts of the day, this whole document is questioned then. Okay, this whole thing. So Robinson did not respond. Oh, so Robinson's father contacted his son and asked him to send him a photo of the rifle. Didn't happen. Robinson didn't respond. Oh yeah, I bet Tyler didn't respond because his dad never sent a question asking for the photo of the rifle. All right. However, Robinson's father spoke on the phone with Robinson. Oh, really? I guess we'll find out. And that Robinson implied that he planned to take his own life. Robinson's parents were able to convince him to meet at their home. So as they discussed the situation, Robinson implied that he was the shooter and stated that he couldn't go to jail, could not go to jail, and just wanted to end it. So he wanted to end it, but he also was afraid for his life. Doesn't make sense. When asked why did he do it, Robinson explained there is just too much evil and that the guy, Charlie Kirk, spreads too much hate. They talked about Robinson turning himself in and convinced Robinson to speak with a family friend. So now they reference that LDS guy who is a retired deputy sheriff. At Robinson's father's request, the family friend met with Robinson and his parents and convinced Robinson to turn himself in. I thought he just willingly turned himself in and admitted to everything. Yeah, no, he just implied. A lot of implies here. Just a lot of I implied, he implied, he implied. That's not a confession. So the family friend spoke to the police and reported telling Robinson that it would be best if he brought all evidence with him to the sheriff's office to avoid police having to search his parents' home. Family friend also asked Robinson if he had any clothes that were related to what he did. Robinson replied that he had disposed of the clothes in different areas. Like I said before, if Robinson did anything, he probably was asked to wear different articles, like different outfits. Remember? Because Tyler, this 22-year-old young man, calls his different clothing outfits. But he wore different outfits and walked around different parts outside of the campus that day, like in Phil Lyman's neighborhood. And then he drove around and was captured driving his car, being followed or following another car, and then going to Dairy Queen in totally different clothes than the clothes that he supposedly wore in all of the footage that they supposedly have of him that day. So at best, what he did was he was playing some peripheral role around the campus. I think that's all they really actually have evidence of. They don't have like concrete evidence of anything else. It's all just nonsense. All right, let me see. All right. No more supers as of right now. All right. I think that is the gist of okay, yeah, I wanted to show this, guys. This is key. Okay? Let me make this bigger for you guys. Let me see if I could zoom in. Do you see that? There is no way. Look at the distortion on his neck, on his chin, his hair, his head. It's blowing it all up, right? I got to zoom out enough so I can see. Actually, I can do it probably. No, I got to zoom out a little bit more. So like right here, this is before, right? Now watch. And people saying that he closed his eyes for a long period. No, he didn't. He like blinked. Okay. He blinked and then boom. All right. And then boom. He wasn't preparing for this. There's no way you could prepare for what was about to happen. It was so violent. It was so violent that there's no way he was willingly knowing that this was about to happen. Okay. He itched his nose. He did what he normally did. He would answer, put the mic down. He'd close his eyes. He'd suck on his lozenge, his throat coat, wait and listen, and then respond. And it just so happens that in this moment, he put the mic down. It's in his lap. He's relaxed. He closed his eyes for just but a freaking second. And boom. And this all happens, this shirt movement happens before the sound of a rifle being fired and before any type of wound or anything. So the very first thing to move is the shirt, the necklace, and Charlie, but no wound. Look at that. Look at that. All right. And this is when the necklace breaks and that other side of the shirt pulls up. And that's the back side of the road mic shooting across, which is like the circuit board and the battery. All right. This is the part where John said he believes this is cavitation of his torso. Okay. The force is so violent, it's pushing back. This isn't just air. The first part was, right? Let's see. That part is air from the explosion. It's the hot gas and everything expanding. And then this, once again, it comes back. Then that is also the back of his torso. And it shoots it up over his hair. It just all was so aggressive. It's not just some overpressurization that happened. And look at how thick that necklace is. That is the thing that gets caught on the back of his shirt and stays on his shirt as they carry him out to the car. This is not some tubing for a squib, you guys, for some fake Hollywood event. All right. And John Bray also made a very good point, right? When Charlie came out, he's walking around the event. He's saying hi. He's throwing out hats. He goes to sit down. There's no way. No one came over and hooked anything up to him. Nothing. There was no time to do any of that. None. Okay. No time. And when you see how violent that like concussive blast is, wait, let me go back. The very first, right there. There's just no way he didn't have some sort of massive TBI and was just like instantly out. It is just so intense that and it makes sense why I don't want to show too much and get in trouble. I got to be very careful with some of this stuff. All right. Let me make sure the volume's off. Yeah, there's just no way, you guys. And so John Bray did a good point in saying that. So when it pierced his neck, what drained was the blood from his brain, right? Which is, I forget the term, why it was darker, why it was thicker. And if his heart had already stopped and it was just the blood that drained from his brain, that's why we wouldn't have seen it just keep on coming out. We didn't see it squirting. We didn't see it turn into like a mist like we would have from a high velocity blood spatter, right? Nothing there that day that we saw shows that it was around the bullet that hit him, okay? Let alone no exit wound. I mean, gosh, you guys, there's just so much. There's so much that's wrong with this. If I'm leaving something out, please, you guys, throw something into the chat so I can read it. All right, let's keep it going. Oh, that one was a lot faster, but I want to go. Why isn't it showing it? So it's right there, nothing, and then boom, immediately. And you can just see the effect that it had on his whole body and how it jolts him back and up. And it distorts like the size of his neck, his face. And it's just so incredibly sad that they did this to him. And now what they're trying to do and tell us that it wasn't, that our eyes are deceiving us, you guys, and that it was just a lone gunman from the Losi Center in just a 30-06 round that did all this. It's just so ridiculous. Look at that. Look at this first image right there. Look at that. Look what it does to his skin on his neck, to his chin. Look. Immediately breaks the necklace. Continues to change the size of his neck and his chin and his head. Yeah. Yeah, and there's just no way, for one, that he faked his death. There's no way that he's alive. There's no way that this is a bullet. There's no way this is some squib. There's no way this is some Hollywood stunt. He couldn't even have faked it, even if he tried. His decorticate posturing, the locking up of his knees going together. There's just no way. And these are all there's some of them are different angles, and one is a 30 frames per second and one is a 60 frames per second video, but they're both iPhones. I mean, come on, guys. If his shirt is still up around his left side right there, which it is, this is all happening before the sound, before the actual wound we see. We don't even see the wound appear until after the shirt goes back down. The shirt is still up on the left side. Shirt is still up. All of this is happening in just like milliseconds. And so to me, this can't be explained by a rifle, by a bullet. It just can't. Oops. Oh, man. I don't want to do that. Okay. I mean, he had shown that, so hopefully that doesn't YouTube, please. I'm being good. All right. Let's get to that was, yes, I think we covered everything we wanted to cover for today. All right. If anyone has any questions, comments, throw them in. If not, I can read some that we have down here. Me and my faith. Well, I don't want to read out loud unless I know for sure what it says. Yeah, remember the Man of Steel comment came from Erica, right? The neck of steel, that it was a modern day miracle, right? Andrew Colvit's the one that released that, the head PR guy. And they attributed that to the surgeon, Lee Trotter. But then later the surgeon said, no, I didn't say that. Erica Kirk said that on the three-way that was happening with Andrew, the surgeon, and her, and that she offered that as an explanation as to what happened. But it's like so many moments of this story, Erica inserts herself and then starts framing different parts of this story or narrative, and blamed Andrew for going rogue on so many things. It's just crazy. Let's see. Yeah, Cynthia. There was no exit wound. I don't know. Someone's saying that there was. John Bray clearly shows an object coming out. Yeah, out of the front. Yeah. So if that's what Cynthia's responding to, yes, Michelle, you're correct. I can't show it here, right? So John Bray, and well, so does Blake. Blake Bednar's on X. There was high definition video and slow down. What you see from the front cameras that captured it is after the shirt goes down and the wound appears. The wound is there and it's like a weird shaped wound, and you don't see any behavior that you would see from like a high velocity round hitting him. And you don't even see the blood coming out immediately. There's a pause, which just logically, you're like, okay, so the wound is there. Why is there no blood coming out? Well, that probably something's in the neck. There's something blocking it, right? There's something in the neck. It's obstructing the blood. And then next, logically, it's just that, so the pressure, the blood building up behind it, once it finally got to enough point where it pushes out and then we start to see the blood, what you see precede the blood is what looks like a man-made object because it has like a right angle and like straight edges. Looks black. Doesn't look like the rest of the blood. It looks like something else. It looks like a foreign piece of shrapnel or an object of some kind. To me, it looks like a part of the battery or a piece of the road mic itself that shattered and became shrapnel. Other people would misquote our theory and say that we're saying that it was a bomb. No one's saying that. That it was a projectile in the mic designed to explode and shoot him in the neck. Nope, that's not what we said. The neck wound was an accident. His mic was here. Okay, it was supposed to prime and separate, and then the shape charge was supposed to go off secondary and then bore like a hole through and then all the way out the back, which would have been an entry wound and an exit wound, and it would have looked like a bullet, a 30-06. But from some variable that they could not account for that day when it separated from the shirt and then shot across, that was like a confounding variable that they couldn't account for. And that's why all the pivots started happening. The stories, the narrative, they tried to contain this, but it just kind of got away because they want us to not trust our eyes and not believe what we saw. The neck wound was not what they had planned for. It's not what the story was supposed to be. It was supposed to be easy, open and shut. There was a lone gunman on the Losi Center. He shot a 30-06. Look, you can see, hit him in the chest, 30-06 wound, entry and exit. But things happen differently. You can plan and you can prepare, but on game day, things are different. Okay. Same thing. You plan for war, you train, you get out there. It's different. And I think that's why we saw a lot of the behavior of the security team when they're tending to him. They know that they're on camera, right? They know people are watching and there's cameras. So they're trying to not communicate out loud, lip readers, and not give too many nonverbal communication signals that would lead us to believe that they're, doing anything suspicious. But they clearly are beside themselves that what they had planned for, in my opinion, is not what ended up happening. And that they were trying to get it to the point where he's on the ground. No one can see. The tables are in the way and the table coverings are over the table. You can't see him behind. You only see him as they lift him up and take him to the car. It's my opinion that that's when they shoved at least 1 or 2 Instaclots in his neck, compress. As one person holds the wound, the other 4 or 5 people carry him to the car. And that's why we wouldn't see a lot of blood dripping along the way, especially if his heart had stopped. Nothing's going to be pushing the blood out. Okay. If it was just blood draining from his brain, and most of that came out in that initial, when the object came out of his neck and he tilted over, a lot of it poured out, and then they came over and put an Instaclot in, then that's why we wouldn't see a lot on the ground or on the way to the car. But if they then tried to readdress the wound in the car or take the Instaclot out and use gauze, because Brian Harple, and they said they used hemostatic gauze and 36 feet they put in there. But yeah, so they said that the object came back out the front, that there's only one wound Charlie had that day. It's the entry and exit is the same wound, right? The object goes in, clogs it for a second, and then comes out. Candace did say that there's no blood behind him, meaning there is no exit wound from the back. It just, the entry wound is the exit wound because it wasn't a bullet. It was a piece of the device that wasn't supposed to be a piece of shrapnel. It wasn't supposed to be a projectile. It was supposed to be the shape charge that like bored. It was supposed to bore its way through him like the heat. And he said, John said that how it would have worked is it almost would have like soldered it, like sealed it on its way out and through that. There wouldn't have been a lot of continual blood on the wound immediately. But that's not even what we saw anyway. So like that's kind of all speculation. But what we saw was this jagged piece of shrapnel go in, clog it, block it, and then come out. Let me see. We got some more supers. Cool. This is the part that I love the most. I love interacting with you guys and seeing where you guys are at, seeing what you guys believe, giving you guys a chance to get your words, your thoughts, your opinions up here. I'll never not. If you guys put a chat in, I heard a story about someone worried during the John Bray interview that I wouldn't show or read a super chat because maybe I wouldn't agree with it. No, I would never do that. I would never do that to anyone. You guys put in a super chat, it is going on the screen 100% of the time. We're all allowed to agree and disagree with one another. We just need to do it respectively. That's it. We don't all have to agree the same thing. We don't all have to think the same thing. Okay. All right, let's go here. What happened to video of the guy crouched on the roof? The guy that recorded that video didn't see the guy taking the shot. Correct. I think Candace, or Baron, I forget who it is that referenced that. I'll pull that up right now, actually. They said that this, I don't even know if that's from the same day. Okay. I don't even think this is this video of the guy on that roof is from the same day. Let me see. Tyler, let's see. Shooter. Here. I need to mute it. Hold on. I'm pulling it up, guys. I need to make sure that there's no audio. Okay. Especially if it's a different like news. All right. So not even, I mean, there doesn't even look like there's a lot of people on this roof. Supposedly this happened like the week before. You know, the other question is like, look how far back this person is. He wouldn't even have had enough angle to pitch, to shoot all the way down to get Charlie Kirk, right? Because like, look at where he is. Here, I guess we'll play through a little bit. I don't like the music they're playing in the background. I got to be careful for copyright and things like that, especially because it's another news broadcasting network. Okay. So if this person is in a position where they can't even shoot an angle down, right? Look, if he's here, okay, he's going to have to angle it down. Because he's like down in, he's not even on this flat ground. He's down in this like valley, this like cavern in this amphitheater. There's just no way, you know? So I don't think that's the shooter at all. But yeah, I agree. So what happened to this guy? I don't know. The guy that recorded that video didn't see the guy taking the shot. No, he didn't. He didn't see the guy taking the shot, which is weird in and of itself. And I think the person that took that photo is a questionable person too, and never, like the FBI, no one never reached out to him and asked him for that video. It's never been followed up with who he is. He's never been like verified. Candace couldn't get a hold of him. No one could get a hold of him. He supposedly had, some sort of expertise with like military or firing, and he could supposedly, what he had said is that he could tell it wasn't a Mauser, that it was a shorter like M4, M16 rifle. I don't know. We never got. Isn't it weird that some of these people that have like the most pivotal videos from that day, or that are alleged to be the most pivotal videos of that day, this is supposedly the shooter. So we don't know the metadata. We don't know the timestamp. We don't know if it is that day, what time of that day. The guy just saw the person up there, didn't stay to record it, to see what he did. He didn't call police. He didn't start yelling at the guy. What are you doing up there? He didn't run over to the event and be like, hey, there's a guy on the roof. It's weird. No, he just did that and just left. Okay. The old man. The pictures of the guy in the stairwell. What old man? George Zinn. The pictures of the guy in the stairwell. So these are all the things we question on the narrative. Yeah, I don't, I agree. We don't know what part George Zinn played. The pictures of the guy in the stairwell. Yeah, clearly not Tyler. And that's a video, but they took still photos of the video to show us. The guy running on the roof, not Tyler Robinson. What happened to Lance Twiggs? Somewhere in Austin or San Antonio, somewhere in Texas, supposedly. But I don't even know if that guy they showed us that one day and that Infinity at the gas station, it didn't really look like Lance. I mean, like it kind of looked like Lance, but like that guy like looked jacked. The guy looked big and buff. I don't know. Didn't really look like Lance to me, but they clearly, whoever took that photo would have the dude's license plate. They followed the guy home because they have the pictures of him like walking in. Like, let's see if I could pull this up. Let's go. Are they not publicly available? How are they not publicly available? That's crazy. Someone privately had those photos of him? Where? They're just nowhere? Okay, here we go. I had to type in the word gas station. Okay. So we'll look at this and then we'll look at okay, so this they're trying to say is Lance. It doesn't look like Lance to me at all. And let's just pay attention to some characteristics that you can't fake. Like his ear. Okay, look at this ear. His nose, his lips, his chin. All right, now let's go back. Let's see if there's one that's very clear of him. That's not the same person. That's not even the same nose. It's not the same lips. It's not the same ears. It's not even the same person, you guys. That's crazy. Similar, but different for sure. Similar, but different. Because where was the other one that I was just looking at that I didn't put up? This one. This does not look like him. I mean, this is obviously Lance, but this does not look like that kid at the gas station, right? Let's look at his ears, his nose, chin, lips, eyes. Now let's go back to that gas station photo. Where did it go? Oh, wait. What's the most clear photo we have? That's kind of blurry. All right, we'll do this one because it's... Yeah. No. Just not him. It's not the same person, man. It's just... Oh my gosh, you guys aren't even looking at it the whole time. I'm so sorry. You guys are just looking at me. I did. I mean, I made it this far without doing that. Let me get down to the bottom and see how mad you guys are at me. Yeah, you can't see it. I know. Oh my God. You have not been screen sharing for a long time. For how long? That we can't see. Oh my gosh. Question mark. Let's see how far back this goes. Interesting. Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry. Matt, share it. Oh my gosh. You pulled a Baron. Oh my gosh. That's so long ago. Oh my gosh. All right. Sorry. So we'll do that over. I'm sorry. I gotta shake it off. I'm sorry, guys. Man, because I usually don't jump back and forth during super chats. I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. All right. So this is Lance, supposedly Lance. This is Lance, supposedly in Texas. Okay. And what I was pointing out was, man, his nose, his ears, his lips. Okay. Look at his lips, his nose, his ears. Right. Now let's go back. Man, I'm so sorry, you guys. I've done such a good job up to this point. Can you guys forgive me? This dude's lips are thinner on the top for sure. His nose is broader here, like it's bigger. Like it's a similar picture, but it's not the same person, right? Like if we just be objective about it. Look how much more fuller this guy's lip is, right? And his nose is like the holes, his nostrils are closer together. They're not as spread out as that last photo was, right? This photo, no, I didn't mean to go, nah. I didn't mean to do that. Because if you click on it, it takes you to this stupid website. See, his nostrils flare out more. His upper lip is thinner. It's just not the same person. You guys, I'm so sorry I did that. Please forgive me. We can't see the pic. I know. I'm so sorry. You guys hate me. I apologize. All right. Why is he out there fighting for his furry? Wait, why is he out there fighting for his furry lovers in a sense? He's not, is he? What do you mean? Why isn't he? What happened to Lance Twix? I don't know, man. Like I said, I don't think that's him. I just don't, objectively, I don't think that's him. All right, let's see. The Rileys. Hi from Australia. Stoked to catch a live. New here. Love the show. John Bray show was excellent. Thank you. Thank you. Tagged you on X, TMZ security cam footage showing it's edited. Tyler Robinson texting about Gun was on 10th. Gun not on TV till 12th. Yeah, no family saw it. I agree. Yeah, 100%. Thank you for that, Super. That's very, very generous. I agree 100%. Well, even the photo that they showed, it's not even the same gun, you guys. That's not the gun. That's just a gun they pulled off the internet. Sorry, I'm 10 weeks postpartum and a little emotional. Laugh out loud. Justice for Charlie. Praying this case will be the catalyst to end government corruption. No, you don't need to apologize for anything. I totally, understand. And this has gotten, I know, let me see. Is this Mystic saying, you moron, you were not sharing for so long? Let's see. Nobody's. Behind the scenes. All right. I'm not going to read someone's text out loud, but you guys are awesome. See, like that's a genuine laugh. You see my veins popping out and my face turn all red. That's sorry. You don't have to apologize. We are just, okay, I'm just going to have a moment. We are all so tired. We are so freaking tired of not being listened to by the people that run this freaking government in the world. The people that say that we elect to represent us, that promise us so many things and then get in and do not only not what they promised, do the complete opposite of what they promised. They promise us they're not going to do certain things, and then they do the exact things they swear they won't do. And then the things that they swear they will do, the things that we cared about, and that's why they ran on those things, they don't do them. And then someone like Charlie, who was willing to represent the people, not necessarily in political office, because I don't know that he had any aspiration to ever do that. People say that he did. I don't know that he did. He wanted to be involved in politics, for sure. But the person that said what we thought and represented our thoughts and feelings was taken from us. And then the people that took over his organization perverted what he stood for, what he died for, and now say whatever they want to say. Charlie said this. Charlie stood for this. Charlie would be for this. Charlie would be against this. We're not trying to speak for Charlie. We all have a right to be pretty dang pissed off. So you don't have to apologize, Nina. This community is a good community. We're here for one another, and we're happy you're here. Bree, thank you. Let's see. I just have to comment on the bleeding. ICURN here. The jugular venous bold is darker because it's not oxygenated. Yeah, that's what John Bray said. I just couldn't think of the terminology. Thank you. It's not oxygenated. It drains from the brain. But there is art, but there is arterial blood in the brain. Okay. But his carotid not hit. Okay. I'll do some more research as to the differences of those two. I mean, you could just put it not in a super chat, just in the comment. Do you agree? Like, did you, Marina? I can't. Marina Mavrogenis. Did you see the John Bray episode that he did with me where he talks about what I can't remember which one, if he said it was the jugular. I think he did say it was the jugular, right? That was hit, right? And so therefore it was the darker blood and it was not oxygenated and drained from the brain and not arterial, right? Blood in the brain. I'm trying to understand the last part of your text, your post, but I want to hear you out all the way. So if you want to throw the rest in just the regular chat, I'll read it out. Yeah, John said jugular. Right. And that it drained from the brain and that's why it was darker. And that's why it was not oxygenated and why the consistency, why it looked the way it did. And that also if his heart was stopped from the explosion itself, why we also didn't see continual spurts of, and we didn't obviously see the high velocity blood spatter because it wasn't a high velocity round that hit him in the neck. All right, let's see. Check your email. Okay, I will. We can't see the pic. I know. I ended up fixing it. I'm sorry. Can I send link to story about where Lance is now? Yeah, for sure. Oh, is that the email that I probably got? Let me go. Let's go look. Let's do this live. Let me get rid of those ones because that's a nothing burger. Huh. All right. Well, hold on. Hold on. Hold on. This was just sent to me. Let's see what it says.
Focused at the TPUSA folks. Okay. It was Israel. It was TPUSA. He was inside. It's the Epstein files. It fuels everything that people want you to pay them for. Okay. But the organization has to deal with it. The people in the organization are often targeted, and they have to deal with it personally and professionally. One person who checks both boxes is one of Charlie's best friends, his producer, TPUSA spokesman, Andrew Colvett, and he joins us now. Brother, I wish I was bringing you in to talk about something else, to be honest, but I want to give you a chance.
It's as big as it gets. Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Thanks. Oh, I love you. Thank you. I'll try to make it bigger. Hold on. Oh, I can make it bigger. Sorry. See, I'm a one-man crew. Well, I had to pause it anyway, you guys, or else it was going to ding me. Oh, wait, I could do this. Watch. I am adding criticism and commentary. So please do not ding me for copyright. Okay? All right. And I paused it. And now we'll continue.
To deal with this on your own terms. It's all very hot right now that, see, it wasn't him. How do you deal with what comes along with this personally and at the organization?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Chris. I would just say, my biggest beef is with this Daily Mail headline. First of all, it was what I consider media malpractice, the way that they presented it. And it felt like they were catering it to this cottage industry that's exploded online about conspiracy theories after Charlie's assassination. So I was pretty upset about the way they formulated that headline. I thought that it should have been corrected, requested corrections. Haven't seen it happen yet. So that's number one. But there is a silver lining here, Chris. It's almost like the internet is developing antibodies to some of the crazy stuff, because what we saw, the headline drops, predictable, all the usual suspects rush in, take advantage of it, take the story where it didn't go. But then you saw something different. You actually saw some sane voices, some people pushing back. And by this morning, it felt like a lot of the zaniness had been muted. Of course, some people are not going to hear basic art.
Yeah, I'm going to keep playing it. I just got to be careful not to just play too much of it uninterrupted, or else they get really angry. So hold on. I'm just going to point out that most of the people, well, okay, I'll speak for myself and Zach Costello. We both said, Zach said it today, I said it yesterday, and then I repeated it today, that the Daily Mail was operating under clickbait. Okay. We showed the document here. We've showed it before. All the ATF report said was that it was inconclusive. And I agree. So we're not all crazy, like Zach and myself and a couple other people. I don't know who else have talked about it and said that what the Daily Mail did was just wrong. I know other people on X, I think Project Constitution actually tried to say that it proved that it didn't fit to the rifle. I think Tim Pool did something on it today. I didn't get to watch the whole thing, but the Daily Mail clearly misrepresented what the document said. 100%. 100%. We're not all crazy trying to look for any reason to give some sort of BS spin. We want to represent what actually is the truth. We're trying to get to the truth.
Arguments or common sense, but it did feel like there was a bit of a detente, and that was a first in some of these waves that we've seen. And so I'm actually pretty encouraged about the developments. And like I said, it feels like we're almost building up antibodies to this, and people are getting their courage to speak out and speak some of the truth. Whereas before we just we saw this stuff run rampant.
Well, look, good. I just hope it doesn't get momentum, because the last thing we need is more negativity, especially this week. The promise of rebirth and renewal means something very deep, very...
All right, whatever. Yeah, more plug. Oh, okay. We'll see.
Very profound to you. It is the basis of faith in Christianity, the story of Jesus's crucifixion and resurrection.
right.
I wish you a good Holy Week, and I wish us all rebirth and renewal. No matter what we believe in, we can believe in that. Andrew, thank you for being with me.
Happy Easter. God bless you, Chris. Thank you.
All right. My apologize. I didn't know he was actually talking about the Holy Week and Easter. I 100% agree with that. I thought he was just about to read some sort of ad for something about rebirth and renewal. I don't even think, Cuomo's whatever. Yeah, we're not all crazy crackpots trying to just spout, just try to have any excuse to attack the official narrative. Nope. We really just want to represent the facts. That's it. All right. Let's see. All right. I think we're all caught up. Yep. Wait. Oh, so yeah, Riley, you can send me an email. I don't think I got that from you. That was from somebody else. Let's see. Let me refresh if you sent me something. No, but yeah, my email's on the channel, the blacklinebrief@gmail.com. Let's see. I think I have a banner with it. Let's see. There it is, the blacklinebrief@gmail.com. There's some of my other, whether it's my Facebook, my X, or Rumble. Let's let it get across again. The email is right there, the blacklinebrief@gmail.com. All right. And then, yeah. All right. Thank you guys. Let's see. All right. We're all caught up. We're caught up on all the supers. All right. Yeah. I hope everyone this week spends time with family, time in prayer, time with the Lord. I just thank you guys for all your love and support. You guys are a blessing to me. And hopefully I can continue to be a blessing to you. God bless you guys. Thank you again. I'll see you guys tomorrow.